Hey y'all, it's Stacy. Welcome back to the kitchen. Today we're making my easy cornflake cookies. Now, if you love my recipes, I would appreciate it if you would like and subscribe to my channel here on YouTube. That way you're notified every time we post great new content. To get started, I've got a medium saucepan here. I'm going to add 1 cup of regular white granulated sugar, about a teaspoon of salt, and I've got 1 cup of light corn syrup. Now, measuring corn syrup can be so frustrating because you're not sure if you get it all out of the container and it's sticky everywhere. If you're using corn syrup in a recipe that has some type of fat in it, be it butter or whatever, in this case, peanut butter, you can actually spray whatever you're measuring your corn syrup or even honey or some other sticky thing like molasses with a little nonstick cooking spray. That's going to ensure that everything's going to flow right out of whatever you're using to measure, and you're going to make sure you get everything that you need into your recipe. But the key is to make sure that you're having some other kind of fat in the recipe, because you don't want to introduce fat where you're not having fat somewhere else in the recipe. So 1 cup of light corn syrup is going right in here. I'm going to cook this over medium-high heat. We're going to stir this pretty much constantly because we don't want to scorch this. And we're going to be watching closely. Once this starts to bubble, we're going to pull it right off of the heat. All right, as soon as that begins to bubble, we're going to turn the heat off. We're going to add 1 cup of creamy peanut butter. Now, I like to use creamy in this, but you could probably use crunchy peanut butter if you wanted to. The other great thing about this recipe is that if you happen to have a peanut allergy or just don't really want to use peanut butter, other nut butters like sunflower and almond butter also work perfectly in this recipe. So I'm just going to stir this in, being cautious of the fact that we have molten sugar here. We don't want to splash this out. If you've ever had a hot sugar burn, you know exactly what I mean by that. As I'm stirring this, I'm going to add about a teaspoon of vanilla flavoring or vanilla extract, whichever one. Now at this point, you got to kind of work pretty quickly because this is going to start cooling, and as it cools, it's going to firm up and it's going to become harder and harder to work with. So in my bowl here, I've got about 6 cups of cornflakes. What we're going to do is I put these in a large bowl because we're going to pour this over it and stir it all together. So we need enough room in that bowl where we can get this all stirred and combined. Now that I've got my peanut butter in here, we're just going to pour this right over the top. And then we're just going to stir, being a little cautious not to crush all of our cornflakes here, to get everything nice and combined. You can see I'm kind of folding it in, just kind of scooping around the outside of the bowl so that I'm not just pressing down and breaking all of the cornflakes. Already starting to firm up. So what I'm going to do here is, you can do this a couple ways. I find that just using 2 spoons is great. We're just going to scoop a big spoonful out. I've got some wax paper here on my countertop. We're just going to place this right down onto the wax paper and then allow it to cool, and that's it. That is all you have to do. These are a great peanut buttery, chewy, delicious cookie that's no bake. Yeah, it took a little time on the stove, but it really doesn't take that much time. And you can get creative with these, adding some other mix-ins. You could even top these with like a sprinkle of sea salt, or maybe you added like some chopped peanuts or something in them. It's a great base recipe that you can kind of get creative with. You can find this full recipe by heading over to the website at southernbite.com and just search for easy cornflake cookies. Y'all enjoy.